Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for Justified Season 5, Episode 12, Savior. And, actually no, it's called Starvation. And this episode, oh my god, it was amazing. And I think the reason why I love this episode so much was that everything basically intertwined in this episode. You know, everything connected, everything just started to come together. You know, it was no longer, this is Raylan's plot, this is Boyd's plot, this is Ava's plot. No, it all connected in this episode. And I really, really enjoyed that. You know, now we kind of have a, where we're going to be in the season finale. And where this episode ended, I cannot wait for the finale next week. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing, definitely. You know, and the thing is, this episode and the next episode is really going to, you know, this episode is a pretty huge episode because it was going to be the episode that basically sets the tone for the rest of the show. You know, next week's episode is going to set the tone for the rest of the show and what we're going to get introduced to next year. And if we keep getting episodes like this, then I'm going to be really, really happy with Justified next year. This is definitely, though, probably my favorite episode of the season. But let's just get to it. So we start off with, we see Win Duffy, and he's telling Alberto of the Mexican cardinal that he killed Boyd with, one to the head after Boyd killed Picker with a bomb. And Alberto doesn't believe it, and Win says he's sorry he didn't save him a trophy. Alberto says that Yun likes to see the skin of an enemy, and Win says that he wasn't the one that broke promises to Yun. That was Crowder, that was Boyd, and now he's dead. He says that after Boyd set off an IED and Picker that he killed him, and he's glad he did because the guy was trouble. So he's basically making him think that he killed Boyd, which we know he didn't. Win tells them that he can help the Cardinal now, and Alberto asks about Daryl and Win offers to find him for him. You know, he wants him to think Boyd is dead, so in order to do that, you know, he has to help him find Daryl. And Alberto tells him to find him by sundown tomorrow. And Win says he can deliver by then or sooner, and giving Crow to them will literally save Win's ass. And Daryl comes knocking on a hotel room door, and tells Mike he's looking for Picker, busts down the door, gives Mike a terrible beatdown, and he sees all the blood and asks what's going on in the hotel room. And Mike says he doesn't know, and then Daryl asks where Boyd's dope is, and he says he doesn't know again, and Daryl just keeps beating him. That scene, honestly, was just really, really intense. I didn't know what was going to happen there. So then Boyd meets up with Win, and they head to the RV to talk about Alberto. He tells Boyd that he wants his skin, and Boyd says he thought they were out of Yun's jurisdiction. And Win tells him the Cardinal thinks he's dead, and then he told them he'd give them Daryl, and he wants Boyd to help him turn up Daryl for them. And Win's phone rings, and it's Mikey. But then Raylan, Rachel, and Tim walk in the door, and Boyd asks why they're there instead of their hotel room, and they ask where Daryl is, and they then tell Win his tags are expired, and they start towing the RV with all of them inside. So Tim tells him the RV will be an impound, and the IRS is looking for answers from Win, and Raylan says he's going to squeeze them until someone decides to help, and Boyd tells them neither of them are going to help the marshals. Raylan threatens Boyd with charges. They haven't arrested him or on him yet, and Boyd says he doesn't think this is worthy of him. Raylan tells them to think about it and take shelter in the meantime, and Wayne curses the law as they drive away with his RV. And then we get a very interesting scene. I did not think we'd get a scene like this, but I actually really enjoyed this. Raylan actually goes to see Ava in the middle of the night. And at the prison, she asks what he wants, and he says she cut her hair, and she says she's done a lot of things, and he tells her he wants to know about Daryl Crow. And she says she has no idea who it is, and Raylan says the guy is at the top of his list, and she asks what that has to do with her, and he says he wants her help, and she asks why she would help him, and he offers her some prison perks, and Ava asks if he wants her to pressure Boyd, and she tells him unless he can get her out, she has nothing to say to him. So Raylan says maybe she's open to the idea of helping, maybe he's up to the idea of helping Ava, and Ava then tells him that she's tired, and she says she can't help him, and she tells him she and Boyd broke up, and he tells her to patch it up with him. She tells him she can't help him, even if she could, she wouldn't, and he tells her prison made her hair hard, and she tells him that, started building up when Bowman started beating her. Raylan threatens her with getting the guards to look the other way when she gets her, and tells him to go to hell. So, not good between, Boyd and Raylan and Ava. And then we get, the first great scene of the episode. The episode was great from here, but I was really like, yes, it's gonna get great now. Wynn and Boyd tend to Mikey. They demand to know what he told Daryl. Mike told Daryl that it was Boyd's boys that hid the dope. Boyd says they should send the Mexicans and Marshals to the dope because that's where Daryl will be, and then they can decide who wants him most. Boyd says he'll call Carl and tell him not to make it too easy for them. He then goes to Marshall's office, and he says, your savior has arrived. And I love the way he said, like, your savior has arrived. And I'm just like, that is awesome. That is perfect. That was the perfect way to, start the episode. I absolutely love that scene. And I was like, yes, this is going to get amazing now. And from there, it really did get great. Boyd wants to talk to Tim, Rachel, and Raylan, and they discuss what he wants. Rachel mentions that Ava's in prison, and Raylan says that Ava says they broke up, but he thinks Boyd would do it for her. And the U.S. attorney thinks they could cut Ava loose, and Raylan says he'll talk to him first. And Raylan takes Boyd's phone away and then asks what he wants, and Boyd tells him he's single and says he's thinking about leaving Kentucky. And then Boyd says he wants to be left alone so he can have a fresh start. And Boyd tells the marshals that someone he knows came across some heroin out in the field, and he heard that. So Daryl's looking for the dope and is headed there now. And Raylan says he wants him on attempted murder, not felony possession. The U.S. attorney pulls them out and says they need to get him no matter how they do it. Raylan wants Kendall off the hook, but the attorney says one thing at a time. Boyd offers to circle in a map, but Rachel tells him he has to come with them. Basically, Raylan suspects that Daryl was lying and that Daryl was actually the one that did this, and he doesn't want to admit it. It's kind of interesting there. So, basically, the whole reason Boyd is there is to, retrieve a file and see what's going on, and basically get Daryl to confess that he did it, because that's what Raylan thinks, is that Daryl did this to Art. So then we get a really, just a really funny scene with Dewey. His car dives on the back road, so that was kind of funny. And then Penny and Ava chat in the yard when they're descended upon by some women. Others step up to protect her, and then the invaders give up and walk away. So Daryl's waiting at Boyd's bar and holds Boyd's guns at gunpoint and demands to know where the drugs are. And they tell him they can't talk, and he basically said, fine, you don't want to talk to me? Then I'm just gonna hurt you. And he shoots that guy in the leg. Honestly, it was kind of funny. The guy was, like, screaming. And the other guy told him that they're near the rail yard, while the shot guy screams out that it's the worst job in the world. Kind of funny there. I enjoyed that scene. And then Wendy sleeps on the sofa, and Daryl comes in and wakes her. He asks if she's feeling better, and she asks what he thinks. She says she's having bad dreams and shouldn't have left Kendall. She tells him she's a bundle of nerves, and he says he just wants to help her. She says she should have stayed in Lexington close to Kendall and Daryl, and tells her if she had been by Kendall's side all along, this would have never happened. She's very worried now, because that's her son, and she's very concerned about him now. And he tells her to dust it off and pull herself together. She pops a couple of pills, and he tells her he got Kendall a lawyer, and he says they need to raise some money for the lawyer, and he tells her he needs her to pick up something for him to help Kendall, and he asks if she wants to know what it is, and Wendy says no. Then she clarifies that she won't do it, and Daryl tells her that he knows this has been hard, but it doesn't have to be nothing. He says she needs to get it so that Kendall can get a lawyer, and if she doesn't, he says they're done. So then, Ava talks to the girls about Judith being gone. She says, I'm not going to be like Judith. However, what I will continue is the message was right. I'm not going to do the whole Heavenly Mother or shit like that. And she says that the one thing that you did do right was the message. But what she did was wrong. She says they need to stick together and stand up for each other and not turn each other out for drugs. And I really like the way that's going. Ava's saying, if we want to do this, we need to do this as a team. We need to work together. And I enjoyed that scene, definitely. Two of the other girls are talking, and the one says Ava is badass and took Judith out and the guard at County. The other one says they are going to take her out and the drug business because their old man put her brother in ICU. So then, we get a really funny scene here with Dewey. I'm just like, Dewey, what are you doing? Dewey is drinking car gas. I'm like, what are you doing? And it's from this old lady's gas tank, and she thinks he's special and offers him some food. When she comes back, though, she comes back with a gun and starts shooting at him, and he runs off with a gas car, and she's like, you better run. That was really funny, honestly. It came out of nowhere, but it was absolutely hilarious. So it was definitely one of the funniest scenes of the episode, even though it just kind of came out of nowhere. So Wendy goes out to the pick spot and looks around cautiously. She backs slowly into the building. They ask Boyd what this is, and Raylan says that Daryl is consistent about keeping his hand clean, and Rachel says they can just follow her and get Daryl when she takes the drugs to him, and she walks out and finds Raylan waiting for her. She asks why he's there, and he tells her that she has a dark heart like the rest of the crows. He slaps her in cuffs, and she says she didn't do anything and just wanted to help Kendall, and he tells him to take her phone so she can't call Daryl. He doesn't want anyone to have contact with Daryl, basically. So then Boyd tells Boyd that they're going to go to Plan B, and that Boyd's going to wear a wire and get Daryl to confess. And he says that Daryl won't confess to shooting Art to him, and repeats empathetically that he won't wear a wire. He keeps saying, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. But then he sees Roberto and the Mexican crew, and feeling very threatened by them, he decides to wear a wire and basically thinks, alright, this is the right thing to do. So then Boyd calls Daryl, and he says he heard he wanted to see him, and the bartender, he just quit on him, and Boyd asks him to meet and says this will be the last time they talk, and then Daryl has to agree to leave town with all the other crows, and Daryl agrees. I honestly think Daryl's gonna end up dead, but that's just me. Ava then talks to Penny and another girl about her new speech, and Ava says that women treat each other like they're fighting over table scraps, not just in jail. A chick comes by and throws a bloody shiv down at Ava's feet, and she rushes to the bathroom, finds Penny there butchered. The other woman flushes the shiv and tells Ava they have to get out of there. So then Tim tells Rachel they have to be within 100 yards of Daryl and Boyd, and Wendy chews Raylan out for trying to destroy her family. She tells him he killed Danny as entrapping Daryl, and Wendy says the drugs were just to help Kendall, and she says that she failed Kendall. So Dewey pulls up at the whorehouse and comes in to see his favorite girls. He tells them he's mad at them for giving him to the cops, but says with the day he's had, he's willing to let go of his anger. They admit that they gave the stuff away. Someone flushes, and this guy comes out of the bathroom, and he's wearing the necklace Dewey gave one of the girls, and Dewey insults him, tells him to hand it over, and the two of them grapple. One of the girls start to film the brawl. Dewey knocks the guy out, snatches the necklace. He doesn't see it, they filmed him, tells the girls goodbye, and heads out. So then Boyd goes into the brothel, and here we get a really big scene between, Daryl and Boyd, Daryl waits with a gun. Boyd comes in, and Daryl thanks him for coming in, and Boyd asks if he agrees in his terms, and Daryl says yes. Raylan and the others listen in. Daryl says they don't need to end the relationship like this, and Daryl reminds him that they took care of business in Mexico, and he takes one of Daryl's cigarettes, and he says he didn't know Boyd smoked. And then Tim sees Dewey and tells Raylan that they have a problem, and Dewey comes in and holds Daryl and Boyd at gunpoint. He's just going completely insane at this point. Raylan is stunned at his idiocracy. Boyd opens the bag, and Dewey says it's his heroin, his future, and he tells Daryl to put his gun in the bag. Daryl calls him cousin, and Dewey asks how he likes him now and runs out. He finds the three marshals there, and they put the guns in his face, and he says, wait. Dewey tells them they should be thanking him, not arresting him for stopping crime, and Raylan tells him they have him on tape confessing to killing me, sir, and says he was kidding, and Raylan tells him that he should be his defense, and he asks if any final words for him, and Raylan tells him to stop talking himself and in the third person, but he has no clue. So So then Raylan has another conversation with Ava, and basically asks why she asked to help him, and they go back and forth until she decides that she will help him, and she asks what Boyd asks for in return, and Raylan says nothing, and she says there's no way. Then he tells her he asks for a clean slate. She asks what that means, and he says there's no telling what that means with Boyd, and he tells her he'll do what he can. You know, he might try to get her out of jail. He might be the one to free her. He could be the one to free her. So then Daryl tells the U.S. attorney that he never touched the bag of heroin. His lawyer says they have nothing to hold him on, and she threatened them with a harassment suit, and she also tells him they can't hold Wendy. And then Raylan and the U.S. attorney go to see Judge Reardon, and they basically say that, you know, Daryl did not do this. He couldn't have done it. And, Boyd asks Raylan for his phone. He tells Boyd that he didn't help him get Daryl. So they're convening a grand jury. And Boyd says the file is bullshit. But then Raylan actually pulls it down, shows it to hhim, and says the trail of human wreckage of people leaves room because they believed him. And then Boyd is, Boyd and Raylan go back and forth. He even brings up, Nikki Augustine, but they're like, oh, that's yesterday's news, it's not a concern anymore. And then Boyd demands his phone. Raylan hands it over, and I love the last two scenes this episode. It was amazing. Boyd walks out, calls Jimmy, asks if he has the rest of the guns. Turns out Jimmy is actually being held at gunpoint by Roberto and the guys. That is why Boyd saw them before. And then the very end of the episode was amazing. The U.S. attorney comes in and tells Wendy that Kendall will be tried as an adult, and he's going to be sentenced to death. And Raylan did it, and Daryl does not look happy at all. So now it's going to be all out war now. Raylan just got Kendall in a lot of trouble, and it's not going to be good now. So I'm really looking forward to this finale. What's going to happen now between, Raylan and Daryl? Do you think Raylan will finally catch Daryl? I think Daryl's going to die. I think most of the crows are going to die. I think Dewey might even die. What's going on with Boyd? I think Boyd and Raylan are going to be at each other's throats now. That's it for my review. I hope you enjoy. I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.